Hello, this is Todd Waugh from Aquatongue Media, and I want to discuss an article that I saw on the Psychology Today website with the intriguing title, How Humans Differ from Plants, What We Have in Common with Plants, and How This Matters for a Good Life. The title itself is pretty intriguing. It sort of seems obvious, but I'm sure that the article is going to go into some detail about the differences, and it might be a little thought-provoking, so let's go through it. So the article begins, of course humans differ from plants and also from other animals, but in some ways they are similar. Knowing some of these similarities and differences can help for living a good life. And so one of the first things they talk about is the importance of movement. Let us start with the differences. Like other animals, humans can move. Plants cannot. We humans do not choose where we are born, that is true, but at least we can move from there. Plants must stay where they landed as seedlings, and for some that means a tough life. Think about it the next time you look at a tree, especially those that live in windy places, between rocks, or on a steep slope. Well, this is definitely true. If you look at trees, one of the nicest parts of the country, it's one of the most pretty parts of the country to drive along is the coast of California. And one of the things you can see if you look at trees growing along the coast of California, because California, the Pacific Ocean, is oftentimes windy, some of the trees, the way they're growing, are a little bit deformed as a result of constantly having wind blown on them. So this is definitely true. Basically, some trees, some plants can have a tough life, and a lot of that is determined by where their seedlings land when they're little. But again, we humans can move, the article continues. In fact, this ability shapes the way we approach life in our environment. We tend to move away from what is unpleasant, or what we think might become unpleasant, and towards what we think will be pleasant. We are goal-oriented creatures, the article continues. We tend to think in terms of direction or movement to get where we want to be. And if we are not feeling well or face a problem, our first reaction may be to get away from the situation. This has important implications. The first is we can use this capacity for happiness. We're never completely stuck in a bad or mediocre situation, a toxic relationship, a frustrating job, or an unpleasant neighborhood. We can always improve our situation by exploring new territory and finding new resources somewhere else. This is definitely true. I think of one of the great American musical artists, Bruce Springsteen, and he's got a very famous song titled Born to Run, and the lyrics famously refer to basically getting out of a small town. I think in the song they refer to a death trap, a suicide rap, and we got to get out while we're young. And so I think this article, in a sense, is referring to that. Basically, you're in a bad situation, you want to improve your situation, you always have the ability to move away, to move somewhere else, to move somewhere that you perceive to be better. You can get moving, and plants can't do that. Plants don't have the option of getting moving. But let's continue the article, and let's find out more about plants. The value of staying put. We humans, like plants, are creatures deeply embedded in our environment, even if we are mobile. Our village or town, our home, our family, our culture, our social network constitute the daily environment in which we live. And like plants, we can hardly get away from it, at least not completely. Even on holiday, you can't totally leave your job or your family. The older you get, the more this extended self tends to grow in size and inertia. We accumulate objects, relationships, tastes, and all sorts of things that we consider parts or extensions of ourself, and these make us less mobile. Just consider the size of removal vans and how they get bigger with the age of people moving. Now, this is definitely also true, and again, I'll refer back to Bruce Springsteen. He's got a song titled My Hometown, and at the end of the song, he refers to him and his wife having a conversation about getting out, considering moving somewhere else. But then just a few moments later, he famously says, "Son, take a good look around. This is your hometown." So I think that that's sort of what they're referring to. As you get a little bit older, you do experience some inertia. You get comfort. You get comfort in sort of where you've spent your time, and moving away from that seems very difficult and painful. So we tend to avoid it. So the article continues. So we share a lot with plants. We are nurtured by our environment, and we are embedded in it. In many ways, it is part of what we are. What can we learn from all this? First, we can indeed move. Perhaps we should think twice about moving as a reaction and whether that is the best move. Let us take a closer look at plants and how they manage to get the best of where they are. Observing how other creatures adapt to their living conditions is always food for thought. Plants cannot run away. They have to face the situation, and they do so not with muscles but with chemistry or growth. This is true. Plants basically don't have the ability to move, but they do have the ability to adapt to their situation. So similar to the tree that grows alongside a windy road, and how its growth is dictated by the constant wind coming off of the ocean. Similarly, we've all had experiences with plants in our houses, and if plants don't have access to light, that basically the way the plant grows will attempt to sort of reach out to the light and have access to the light. So plants definitely are adaptable and will attempt to be responsive to their environment. This is for sure true. So the article goes on. A lesson worth learning. In summary, animals and plants have different ways of living a good life by moving or adapting. We humans are fortunate enough to have both approaches available to us. So I think ultimately what this article is trying to get at is basically there are instances in which the best decision is to move and to take action, like action in terms of actually being mobile and moving, whether that's moving on from a relationship, moving on to a new job, moving to an actual different place. We always have that option, but there are some instances in which it's better to basically consider kind of adapting to our circumstances, and maybe just acting in a very reactionary way isn't going to produce the best outcome. So I thought the article was interesting and worth reading. It was thought-provoking a little bit, and if you have any comments or any kind of observations you'd like to add, please add them to the comment section below. And thank you for your time.